Welcome to episode 33 of the Self-Care 101 podcast with your host, Puja McClymont. Thank you so much for listening today. Today I want to talk about being productive in lockdown and how you can reach your goals. Now I want to start by talking about the fact that being unproductive is completely okay. And I think in the first instance, understanding that you're going to have days when you wake up and you are going to hate the world or not be able to function that day, and that's perfectly fine, and you must honor your body at that time. It could be your mind, it could be your physical body that needs attention, but you must honor your body's needs at that time. If you try to push through when you're tired, when you feel demotivated, you're not going to be productive, and then that becomes a wasted day. Honoring your body's needs means that it won't be a wasted day. Somebody messaged me on Instagram recently and said that the reminder of being productive if you're resting is still being productive was really helpful. And I want to reiterate that. We tend to live in a society where rest is frowned upon. Resting is seen as lazy, and especially right now when we're in lockdown, when we're all at home, our lives have been turned upside down. You feel like, well, I'm at home, so I'm technically resting, which means every day should be more productive. No, you're still going through something. There is still a lot of overt stress as well as latent stress that you feel from this pandemic. The mere fact that this whole thing is full of uncertainty is validation enough to take rest when you need it. And I really hope that all of you take heed of this. Take heed of resting, because understanding and hearing your body can sometimes be a new concept for people. I know from a lot of people that I've spoken to, feeling like they can rest and enjoy this time has been a real game changer for them. And it's a learning that I hope that you can take into our new normal, when we go back to work in the way we used to, that you can honor your body's needs. When you need to rest, you will rest. And do you know what? That includes social engagements, because we easily fill our calendars weekend after weekend full of social engagements, and we never really give our body that full 24 hours minimum to relax, to recover, to recuperate, to get in touch with our minds, see how we're actually feeling. And when we don't do this often enough, that's how depression kicks in. Depression sets in very quickly if you aren't able to prioritize your needs. And your needs are what your mind and your body requires in order for you to function. In this episode, I want to talk about routine, planning for the future, self-worth, and motivation. Let's talk about routine. In a group coaching call this week, routine was brought up, and it really made me think about how we can create a routine that is effective during this state of lockdown. Now, first and foremost, having a routine shouldn't be something that is a chore, okay? So if we're in the normal world and we wake up at 6 to get to work for 8 or 9, whatever it is, that can, if you're not enjoying your job, that can become a bit of a chore. So whilst you're in lockdown and our body's needs are different, we're not outside as much as we would like, we are not doing the things that fill us up, that make up our well-being, which are many different factors. So our bodies are going to react differently. Now, there are a number of articles and blogs out there that you can read up on how to create the best routine, and they are helpful. Of course they're helpful, but it's all well and good to say, start your day with meditation and do this and have your breakfast by this point and make sure you've got all these nutrients on the plate. My life, that's just too much. It's too much. You're not going to do it. You're going to fail, and then you're going to feel more crap about yourself, which isn't worth it. So how I would suggest you put a routine in is by being kind to yourself. You really know how much sleep you need. If you're going to bed at 11, 12 o'clock at night, and that time, essentially has been spent on technology, you're not going to get good sleep. Those things are factual, right? So if you want to get a good night's sleep, it requires you to switch off technology at least an hour or two before you go to sleep. If you want sound sleep, good sleep, that's what's going to help you. If you've been on a computer all day, you definitely shouldn't be spending time on a computer in the evening, because that's going to affect your sleep. That's the first basic that's going to affect your sleep. Nutrition is another thing. So eating the right foods. If you're eating lots of carb heavy, sugar heavy, salt rich foods, that's also going to affect your sleep. So just review your diet and see what tweaks you can make. Now, starting small is the most important way that I talk to clients about doing anything new. So the routine for now, keep it simple. If you know you need 9 hours of sleep, that's fine. Have 9 hours of sleep and get yourself waking up at a regular time, a time that makes you comfortable. And that doesn't have to be at 6 o'clock if that's uncomfortable for you. If that's 8 o'clock, make it 8 o'clock. And then decide what would make a productive day for you. What does a productive day for you look like? Because you can't just say a sweeping statement like, I need a routine because I want to be more productive. But what does that mean? What does being productive mean? Does it mean getting out of the house? Does it mean cooking your own breakfast? Does it mean spending time looking for a job? Does it mean enhancing your skills? Does it mean your self-development? Does it mean exercising? What does it mean to be productive to you? And then I would also add a slight addendum to that, and it's based in kindness and compassion. We're not in a normal state of play right now. So if being productive is just doing stuff in your day, and even if that's pleasurable stuff, that's being productive. But accepting that even pleasure is productive is another big step to take. And I know that sounds almost silly coming out of my mouth right now. I hear that. I hear how silly that can sound. But we do. We feel guilty for doing things that bring us joy. If, like me, you like looking at multi-million-pound mansion-style houses, go for a drive and do it. We recently started doing it last week, and I'm now quite addicted. So once a week, because we have to open up the engine in our car, we drive for a good hour, and I just look at these multi-million, billion-pound houses near where I live, and I'm like, oh, I like these. And when I get home, I go onto Rightmove and I start looking at how much they cost and what they look like inside, like that sort of nosy neighbour when you can look through people's living rooms. I'm doing that and it's filling me up. I have no interest in buying a mansion. I have no interest in spending millions of pounds on a house because that's far too much upkeep. Who's got the time for that? But I love houses. I'm wanting to buy a house at some point between this and next year. So for me, it's research, it's pleasurable research. It's unrealistic, obviously, because it's not what I want, but I can take inspiration from that and it helps me get closer to the type of house that I actually want to live in. So take pleasure in it, and it's pleasurable. Another thing that I do is watch Real Housewives. I used to say this was a guilty pleasure of mine, but it's not. I'm not even guilty of it. I don't even feel guilty about it. I love it. I embrace it. I love all the housewives, and they are just so far removed from my life that when I watch the shows, it just brings me so much joy because it's so completely far removed. It doesn't require a lot of brain power, like watching a documentary. It's just easy watching. And it's one of the markers in my day. So you can be productive and say, I don't know, if you wanted to work between 8 and 11, and then at 11 o'clock your 11sies break is watching Real Housewives, go for it. Don't feel guilty. You enjoy it. There are more enriching things you can do, of course, like reading, colouring in, making that walk count, exercise, dance like no one's watching. If you read my recent blog post, you'll know what that means. But understand that being productive is doing what you can. I saw a quote from Stephen Bartlett. Now, Stephen Bartlett, I think, is 25, and he is the youngest millionaire through entrepreneurial pursuits, and he's got a social media agency which is global. And he's been doing a lot of leadership and almost coaching and inspirational content in his social media. And I watched a video of his where he said that he wakes up every morning and just does his best. And then he created a circle with his arms that said, so this is my best. And so long as I do my best every day, I know I've had a good day. And it really hit hard. It really hit home to me, because with coaching, we talk about taking small steps to make changes, because you can't just turn your life around in a minute. That's unrealistic. We don't have magic wands, unfortunately. But looking at your day, if you break down just to look at your day as opposed to the next 3 months, it's a really effective way of being productive, because then it's you wake up, you check in with yourself, see how you're feeling. Are you energized? Do you want to be energized today? And then you set to your day, whatever that entails. If that's a rest day, it's a rest day. What are you going to do? Make it pleasurable so it's not filled with guilt. If you're going to sit and binge watch Netflix, do it. Do it. It's fine. Giving yourself permission to do these things is fine. Because you know what? When you give yourself permission and you're not self-sabotaging and listening to your inner critic, you are more likely to be productive in days after. It's also easy to fall into the bad habits of not doing anything when you do have those slow days. In those times, I would consider how your mental well-being is, because sometimes you've actually got depressive tendencies. If you can't, after a few days, pick yourself back up again and be productive. So first and foremost, with regards to being productive every day, create a routine that is easy for you to do every day. And almost have a routine for good days and off days. So a good day would be your super productive day with achieving whatever goals you have for yourself. So that could be personal goals, that could be work goals. And then have a routine for your off day. How much binge watching would you do if you're going to do that? How long are you going to go for that walk that you're allowed to do once a day? What are you going to eat in that day? It helps to offset any guilt feelings. It helps to offset any self-sabotaging that would affect you from achieving your goals. If you're having a rest day, it's not an off day. It's a day for you to recoup anything that you've been doing that's been strenuous on your mind or your physical body. So it's important to take that rest day and enjoy it, make it fun. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is planning for the future. I was talking to a client on Instagram last week, and she's somebody who is on the front line and struggling with the anxiety of not knowing what's going to happen in the future. And it got me thinking, there's a lot of us in that boat, not knowing what's going to happen. Equally, it's actually a good thing. Just bear with me. When we don't know what's going to happen, it kind of leaves you open to possibilities, to opportunities. There is a camp of people, and I'm in that camp, that believes that this time can be really opportunistic if you can see it that way. So if you can relook at the lockdown as a time where you can do anything you want to do in order to achieve and reach those goals, those dreams, then you will. And the first place to start is with a vision board. I've talked about vision boards before, and I will talk about them all the time because they are a super effective tool, not only to actually see on paper what it is you want from your life, but the images that you see actually, scientifically proven, translate into your mind as real. The more you look at those images, the more you see your vision board day in, day out, when you go to sleep, when you're in the kitchen, when you're at your desk, wherever you are, and you see that, it is going to subliminally drive you. Now I'm going to come over to self-worth after talking about this, because if you don't think you deserve the things on your vision board, you're right. You don't deserve them and you won't get them. So we need to build our self-esteem. So with a vision board, the best thing to do is just put anything on there, anything you want. If there is a particular number that you want to earn every month, put that on there. When you're doing a vision board, the most important thing to remember is that you are not working out how you're going to achieve those things. So if I did want to buy a multi-million-pound mansion, of the houses that I've seen, 2.5 million seemed like a comfortable amount of house and I could see that mortgage being realistic. If I wanted to, I could put that house on there. I don't earn enough to have a 2.5 million pound house right now, but we're not focusing on how we're going to get there. We're just putting it on there. And when you're doing a vision board, it's not just a case of spending a couple of hours on it and then leaving it. Take your time with it and always add and remove as you go along, because as life happens, as you get inspired by other things, as you start checking in with yourself more, self-reflection, etc., your wants and needs will change and you can put them on there. And it can be materialistic and it can be enjoyable, it can be hobbies, it can be anything. And the key to appreciating and understanding how effective a vision board can be is to just be carte blanche about it. Don't think too much. If wearing red is your thing, then put pictures of outfits that are red on there. You know, if that's your power suit, pop it on. Like I say, it can be anything. It just needs to be able to inspire you every day to stay motivated towards achieving those things. And like I said, you don't need to know the how at this stage. Stay in that creative phase. And then to help you discover the how, when you go for a walk, walk with purpose. Think about the things that are on your vision board. If you put on your vision board, I want to earn a minimum of 10k every month, and you've put that number down, you've put a picture of your bank statement with a 10k deposit in, you've really gone to town with it. As you walk, you will start thinking about ways of making that 10k happen. Now, it's not just a case of getting that money in the bank. If you want to earn 10k a month, that's going to require, potentially it's going to require a lot of work from you, a lot of hard work. So do you want to work really hard for 10k or do you want it to be easier? Think about those things. Think about the dirty details of your vision board, of everything you want on there. Think about the dirty details, because those are important. Because as you do that, you might think, oh, actually 10k might cost me a lot of time and effort, and that will take me away from doing more traveling or anything. So you might then revise that 10k to maybe 5k, still very good numbers. But you might revise that to 5k and then see what you could potentially do in order to achieve that. And just keep building on it week after week, and just enjoy it. A key thing to do is to put it in notable places around your house. So I have, on my vision board, I've got health goals, financial goals, and some materialistic things that I want. Materialistic being a house. But on there, I have put all those things. So I need the vision board to be in places that's going to motivate me. So money will be in my office. Health will be in my kitchen. And it's a good job. I put a picture of myself as a size 10 on there, which is very, very motivating when I want to go for a chocolate biscuit. And then I have one next to my bed. Now, the reason why I have one next to my bed is because before I go to sleep at night, no matter how my day went, my eyes will fall onto this vision board before I go to sleep. And as I look at that vision board, it's going to either make me feel good about myself or it's not going to make me feel good about myself. But essentially, I am training my brain to think about the images that are there, to process them as real, to help me get into the mindset to stay committed towards those goals. It does work. You've got to do it every day, but it does work. And then you'll start seeing the effects of having a vision board. None of anything that I say to you is going to work unless you have self-worth, unless you have self-belief, unless you can build or raise your self-esteem to a point where you are deserving of everything on there. Anything on your vision board might feel a bit lofty, it might feel a bit unattainable, and that's fine. We're trying to discover what makes you happy in the first instance. In order to get there, in order to achieve those things on that vision board, comes down to your self-belief. Do you deserve to have those things? Do you feel like you are worthy of those things? Can you do what it takes to get those things? Are you dedicated enough to do it? Now, when you're feeling low self-worth, for the majority, it's going to be from a time that your self-worth was questioned. Now, that could be when you were a child and maybe you had a parent who put you down a lot. It might be a teacher who put you down. It might be something that's happened in adulthood. If you have failed in businesses over and over again, you might feel like you're the problem. If you have changed jobs constantly and you're never happy or been fired all the time, it might be the things that make you feel like you're not worth it. Now, when people come to me with those sorts of challenges, I say to them, were you happy? Is that what you wanted to do? Did that work give you life? Did you enjoy running a business? Because if you don't gain pleasure out of the things that you're doing, it's going to have an adverse effect on you. Your mind is not going to want to work hard for it. Why would it? Why would it? I really want to get my health goals in check. I really want to achieve a certain weight and stuff, and that's my personal journey. Now, I don't like HIIT cardio, for instance. I don't like it, so I'm not going to do it. I don't care how effective it is. If I have to do a HIIT workout every day, it's not going to motivate me. It's going to demotivate me, and do you know where I'm going to go? I'm going to go into the fridge and see what rubbish I can eat, and I'm going to self-sabotage because HIIT workouts do not bring me joy. Do you know what brings me joy? Walking, yoga. Gillian Michaels actually brings me joy. I enjoy doing her DVDs, I'm not going to lie. But those are the activities that bring me joy. And when I do those, guess what happens? The pounds drop. The pounds just go without, in my mind, it feels like there's no effort in it, and they just go because I'm doing something that is pleasurable, my brain likes it, and my body then responds and gives me the results that I want. Now with yourself, it's the same. You've got to look at your vision board with self-worth eyes or glasses, whatever, but you've got to look at yourself as deserving of the things on there. And like I said, yes, some of the things on there were going to feel quite lofty and unattainable, but we're not looking at the how in the first instance. First of all, we want to build up that picture of what your life looks like, what you want your life to look like, and get detailed with it. We're talking about what it looks like, what it smells like, what it tastes like, who's there with you, all those details. And when you do that, you've got to keep looking at that vision board every day and build your self-worth through it. If you can identify where your self-worth might have been hindered, the question to ask yourself is, how helpful is that for me today? How badly do I want to achieve those goals on my vision board? Because if you really want to achieve those goals, if you really want the life that you have painted on that vision board, it is going to have to take every single ounce of you to, one, remain motivated towards those goals, because they're not going to happen overnight, and two, trust that you deserve it. I feel like I'm Tony Robbins right now, but you know what I mean. You've got to just in every inch of your body, believe that you deserve it. And it does sound almost obnoxious. If I put those £1 million houses on my vision board, when I do that, it does feel a bit obnoxious to do that. But it's only obnoxious because of where I am now, where right now I can't afford £1 million house, but I could if I put the work in, if I found the clients in this area, or if I did this. And it's possible, because those are really just numbers, and those numbers are based on what you can do, what you're willing to do. Being determined, having tenacity to achieve those goals is something you do need to question within yourself. You can't put something on the vision board and then not be prepared to work for it. Then it doesn't work. Then it really is, you're just creating a dream board. We're not creating a dream board. We're creating a vision board of the life that you deserve to live, because you believe you deserve to live it. I'll do another episode talking about self-worth to give you some more tips specifically to raise your self-worth, self-belief, self-esteem, because it's a very deep subject and I think it needs its own airtime, so I'll do that. And finally, motivation. How do you stay motivated, especially right now in lockdown? How do you stay motivated to achieve your goal? I answer that question with a question. How badly do you want it? How much do you want it? When people answer that, they'll either go, I understand, and they don't understand. Reach into your every part of you. When you're looking at that vision board, when you're looking at every single item on that vision board, I want you to ask yourself, how much do you want it? What are you willing to do to achieve it? Are you willing to do the exercise that's required to shed a few pounds? Are you willing to revise your nutrition, your diet completely so that you can shed those pounds? Are you willing to post on LinkedIn 4 times a day, every single day, about your industry so that you can be noticed by your potential employer? What are you willing to do? In order to be motivated, in order to stay motivated, it's important to look at that vision board and every single day ask yourself, how much do you want it? When you are flailing, when you're feeling demotivated, when you feel like, oh my God, it's going to be so far away until I achieve that goal, then you're right, one, because that's what you're telling yourself, or you can look at it and see how much you want it. Now, I'm going to give you an example of my weight gain. I gained weight after having my kid, and I've just struggled. For the last 4 years, I've just struggled with staying consistent. And the main reason for me is because of financial stress, because I was made redundant whilst I was on mat leave, and then I got some freelance gigs, and coaching was sort of taking a back seat, and I was trying to grow business, lots of different factors. But what I did was I every single day woke up and said, today will be better, today will be better. Inevitably it wasn't. And I lost motivation quite a lot, naturally. But in order for me to stay motivated, when I put a picture up on Instagram, actually. It was only a few weeks ago. And it was a picture of me in a very nice dress that I only wore once, actually. And I looked at that picture, transported myself back to that night, and I was like, oh, I remember how that felt. I remember the freedom I felt within myself. I remember the self-confidence it brought. I remember how when I walked up the stairs, I wasn't breathing so heavy. I remember wanting to do so much. I wanted to really live life. It made me want to live more. And as I did that, I realized that I want it badly, not the surface badly, but I do not want to end my days without getting myself back to a healthy weight for me, what makes it healthy for me. So I have been diligently looking at that picture every single day, and I'm not going to lie to you, it's not been easy. But every single day, because I look at that picture in 3 touch points of my day, my office, my bedside, my kitchen, I have made wise choices of what goes into my mouth. I have made wise choices in terms of my physicality, how physical I am. It's subliminal, but it's there. But it is honestly based on how much you want it. So I'm going to leave this episode there. How much do you want to achieve the goals that you want to achieve for yourself? Whether that's on your vision board, whether that's beautiful, dreamy, lofty ideas that you have for yourself, or if it's just a case of getting through this particular situation that we're currently in. It can be anything, but how badly do you want it? How much do you want it? Thank you for listening to the Self-Care 101 podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, I would love it if you would subscribe, rate and review so that other people like you can find the show. For more tips and tricks, you can follow me on the socials at Frankly Coaching, or visit my website to find out more about my coaching programs and how to work with me at franklycoaching.com. Talk to you soon.